What is going on, baseball fans? This week, technically, the regular season starts in Tokyo on Tuesday. Welcome into the National League Predictions episode, Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Mike, Dan, the old ops guy with you. Gentlemen, we've made it technically for two teams. It'll start Tuesday. And then a week from Thursday, the regular season will begin for everybody. How we doing?
Excited. Finally, don't have to play second fiddle to the Yankees anymore.
You could tell the excitement on Mark's face.
Oh, the old Ducks guy's been running around like a crazy maniac over the last 48 hours.
Oh,
Now, I've been looking forward to this season, not just because we got Juan Soto. This team was something special last year, and it's going to be even more impressive this year.
Dan, good morning. How are you?
Good. Great to be back on Batter Up. Sure.
We've missed you.
Yeah. Sorry I couldn't do all the division previews. That sounded like a lot of fun.
Check those out wherever you get your podcasts or right here on the SA and YouTube page where you click, like, subscribe, comment, do all the crap you want. Oh, and if you're Irish, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, that is. Tomorrow, some people are celebrating it today, some cities. And
yeah.
So
I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Chicago River already
it goes green.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It always looks good when they dye it green, you know?
Yes.
It's not Cubs
this way it
colors.
Covers up all the throw up.
It's also not Cubs colors. It's not White Sox colors. It's green.
It's the color of
nothing in Chicago.
Yeah, bloody beers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm excited for another season. You know, we start out in Japan and work our way back to the States. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are already there.
Dodgers and Cubs are both already in Tokyo, where this game will be played, where these two games will be played.
Right.
The Dodgers are going to pitch both Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki, while the Cubs are going to throw Shota Imanaga and Justin Steele in these first two games. So it'll be great to have baseball back. So if you're up at, I think they're airing at 6 in the morning on Fox or FS1, one of the two. So
if it was the Mets, I'd be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Sorry, not my team. I ain't popping up first thing in the morning.
Okay, if you're a Dodger fan, you gotta be up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
But that's nothing for LA. That's nothing. You know.
It's true. It's true. Probably getting home from a club, you just throw on the Dodger game.
Yeah. Especially after you have that slow walk home. What nothing better than to put on the watch the Dodgers lose. There you go.
Oh man. All right. Like we mentioned, we'll do National League predictions today. We'll go through each division, give you who we think wins, wild cards, awards. Next week, when we do the American League, we will do World Series predictions. But I do want to start with the news of the week, and it's another little shot for Dan. I apologize. Garrett Cole done for the season, Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
Mark and I talked last week about the implications of him potentially undergoing it. It's become official.
Yeah.
So your reaction, sir?
It's a blow because the whole point of this pivot that the Yankees had to make because they couldn't get Soto. Um, was to beef up the pitching so that they could get away with having not having the hitting that they would have had if they had gotten Soto. Um, so beef up your rotation, beef up the bullpen, and then look, maybe Judge hits another 50 or 60 pop this year. Maybe Bellinger goes off. Hopefully we'll get other parts of the lineup to get working together, but hasn't worked out that way so far. We've lost Cole for the year. Luis Hill, he's out for extended period of time. No Stanton, he's out for extended period of time. So far, the Yankees, the plan B, blowing up in their face a little bit, but nothing crazy. I want to stress that I'm not incredibly worried because I still think the Yankees are still the top of the American League, but now their value takes a bit of a dump, a little bit, because they don't have the players that were supposed to be part of this big time plan B in order to get back to the World Series. And I was talking about this on the Sports Sanity podcast. Watch every Monday and Friday mornings wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to it. You can watch it on the YouTube channel. I was saying that there's a reason why Plan A is Plan A and Plan B is Plan B. And look, one is going to work, one's not going to work. Okay, and it didn't pan out with Plan A, so now we have to pivot. But sometimes Plan B doesn't even work. But then what's your Plan C? You don't have one because you invested so much time in preparing for Plan B that there is no other plan. So now Garrett Cole's not here. Of course, rotation wise, Max Fried, though he's not getting the opening day start, which is stupid. Um, he'll probably be the ace of the staff, and then Rodon probably second. That rotation does not look good all of a sudden. It's very worrisome. So then we're gonna need um obviously Aaron Judge, he'll come through no matter what, though he does struggle to begin the season at times. But we're gonna need the lineup to come in big. We're gonna need to see big things out of this Yankee lineup that I just don't think that they have. I don't think they have. Um, Obviously Volpe has to come through. Um, I still don't know who's gonna play third base. Jazz Chisholm has to come through. Dominguez has to come through. Like all of a sudden, the lineup got a little more important, but we don't have the pieces because Plan A didn't pan out.
Mark.
I mean, you lose a Garrett Cole. It's not just a blow to your rotation; it's a blow to the entire team because he was your guy that people were supposed to that people feared when they had the bat against him. This is a huge loss for the Yankees, and it's not something you can go out and reproduce overnight because there isn't a pitcher like Garrett Cole available, and if there was, he would have been snatched up already. So, uh, to take a line from Dan, the rotation does not look good. I think it's a kind of an understatement. I think it looks pitiful. Um, that being said, we have seen stranger things happen in baseball, and guys can end up coming out having the best season of their life. So, I don't want to take everything away from these guys until they've pitched. Then I'll make fun of them.
um, Stroman, all of a sudden,
Yep.
remember how the Yankees were trying to get rid of him? They couldn't find a trade partner or someone to trade Stroman score and
Yeah.
everything.
Now
Well,
he's important.
how does that look? We kill Brian Cashman for not actively seeking a Strowman trade. We're like, why the hell is he still here? But then at the same time, is he going to be part of the answer to the Yankees' problems? I don't think so, but he's going to have to be.
He's going to be used in some form of, obviously, a starter one week, maybe out of the bullpen another.
Yeah,
You
he ain't
know,
going no bullpen. He don't
He's
want
not
to.
going to the bullpen.
I'm just making
But
hypotheticals.
no, but
Um,
he can't because right now, to Dan's point, you're not only just down Garrett Cole, you're down Luis Heel too.
right. You know, I'm not 1,000% sure who is left out there that would get you innings, except for uh, Mike's favorite player, Patrick Corbin.
Mhm.
Um, but
Uh, someone from the bullpen, someone from the minor leagues.
it's where you're going to have to look, unfortunately. And that's not unfortunate. You draft players for this situation.
You know, I'm also not keen about the two lefties at the top of the rotation, Rodon, Max Fried. Like, I
Mhm.
hate that. You know,
You usually want a righty to split them up.
like it's gonna be interesting. Rodon, by the way, getting the opening day start, which again I don't agree with. I think should be freed, but I get it. You know, you save the best for later, I guess. You know, um, I don't know. I'm just not. I'm worried about the lineup is the one that's going to be my worry.
Okay, so Mark, to your point, here's still who's out there. You mentioned Patrick Corbin, Lance Lynn, who is 38 years old, Kyle Gibson's 37, Anthony DeSclafani's 34, Alex Wood, who's always hurt 34, former Yankee James Paxton 32, Jose Urena, who's 33, and then a couple of legends in Johnny Cueto and Rich Hill, who just never seem to go away.
And there's a reason all those names are not on teams. And
Right,
I can think of a reason for each and every one of them. No offense, they're MLB players far farther than I ever would have gotten. But I'm just saying there's a reason why these guys have not been scooped up.
right. Just pointing out who's still out there.
Yeah.
But I do want to go, Dan, to your point too. Cole and Luis Heel, who held down this rotation while Garrett Cole was out
Mm.
the first couple of months because Cole didn't make a start till June last year.
Yeah.
So those are two big losses. Stanton, who the hell knows if he's coming back with his tennis
He
elbows?
had that elbow and then a calf. All of a sudden, a calf injury too. What are you doing to hurt your calf?
Listen, you know he's always going to miss a month or something with a calf or a hamstring, but
Like, my God,
this is just
he has the weirdest injuries that keep him out for a long time. I'll tell you that much.
yeah.
So projected rotation: Freed, Stroman, Rodon, Will Warren, and then Clark Schmidt. Will Warren's actually having a nice spring, so I'll give him that. He has been pretty impressive with his outings. Um, the jury's still out on Clark Schmidt. You know, he's up and down. He'll give
Yeah.
you flashes, but then you'll struggle.
And the problem with those back three, Stroman, Schmidt, and Will Warren, is they don't need innings.
Yeah.
Right.
And Carlos Rodon, to be fair to him, like, he could have a brilliant start, but he can also have that start where he blows up and he's only giving you 3 innings.
Well, I want the start he had. Let me see. if he could give me the start that he had against Cleveland in the championship series back at home, where he goes not the distance, but he goes a while. If he can give me that 75% of the time and maybe a 1 or 2 runs. If you want to go quality start. 75% of the time, I think that'll be okay. I'll take it. But again, all the pressure goes on Fried. I'm just not look, and I love Max Fried. He's a lights out pitcher, but now all of a sudden the pressure's on him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he'll do with that. New team, new everything for him. So
Yeah, new team, new city.
But
Hopefully, it doesn't fry.
same kind of atmosphere, though, because if you take the Atlanta fan base, I'm not going to say they're as crazy as Yankee fans, but they show up. So I
Well,
don't think the fan interference will be too much for him.
but the media,
The
that's
media is
the
is
big
the
difference.
different animal.
And here's the other part. He's another guy who's had some injury issues the past couple of years. So
yeah.
you got to hold your breath, cross your fingers, do what you got to do to make sure him and Rodon stay healthy. So
Again, I'm crossing all the fingers and all the legs and all the toes and everything. You know,
mm. No, gotcha. So
we got to put everyone in bubbles. That's what we got to do. Well,
bubble wrap everybody.
Stan's a lost cause. He can hurt his biceps and then we'll be out.
The bubble wrap popped on me. All right, so those are Yankee injury issues. Again, we'll cover it more next week when we preview the entire American League. But this week belongs to the National League. And we'll go, since the Dodgers won the World Series, we'll start in the NL West, where last year the standings looked like this. The Dodgers won the division with a record of 98-64, followed by the San Diego Padres at 93-69, followed by the Arizona Diamondbacks, 2 years removed from a World Series now, World Series appearance, 89-73. The Giants at 80-82, and the Colorado Rockies at 61-101. So here's how I want to do this. We'll go from the bottom up in each division. Then we'll go with the 3 wild cards, and then we'll get into the playoffs and such. So, Mark, just the NL West. How do you see it playing out?
Well, winning it, obviously, the Los Angeles Dodgers, followed by the Padres, Diamondbacks, Giants, Rockies.
So you have it the same as last year.
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. Dan, you got any disagreements on that?
I mean, look, until I see it happen with my own eyes, LA's winning that division.
Right.
The only team I could see is the Padres. But the Padres scare me. Like they're always unpredictable. You can never truly see what they are until we get into the season.
Mm-hmm. So you have it the same way, the Padres and then the D-backs.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say the Diamondbacks, they're interesting. I like the team that they're forming. It's not going to win a championship, but it could compete and put thorns up the asses of some of these NL teams.
Okay, so I flipped the Diamondbacks and the Padres.
Okay.
My big thing is this. It's the Corbin Burns side. And you pair that with Gallen and Merrill Kelly. Gives you a great top 3. San Diego's already down Joe Musgrove this season. Yu Darvish is like 38, 39 years old, so he's going to have an injury stint every year he does. Then it remains, we don't know what's going on with Dylan Cease.
It ceased to be
It's,
named.
it ceases to amaze me.
Yeah.
But then I look at the lineup, and I love the Padre lineup. Machado's a stud, but he's another year older. Fernando Tatis is a great player. What am I going to get out of Jake Cronenworth? I think is a fair question. Is Jackson Merrill going to produce the same as he did last year? But if I flip it to Arizona, is Corbin Carroll going to get off to that start he did last year? Because when he was terrible, they can't have that. They need Corbin Carroll. The Christian Walker loss is big, but they got Josh Naylor to replace it.
I was about to say they did do a good job in replacing him.
Yeah. So I kind of like where the D-backs are. And then, the Giants, I'm at the point with the Giants where I'm not going to believe in you until you show me something to believe.
I mean, their signings aren't that crazy. That's my
No, it was
point.
Willie Adames.
You know, I mean, and that's really it. Like, I'm not like the Verlander. It's cool because he's a 20-year vet, and that's great. But it's just like, other than the name, what are you getting out of Verlander? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and again, he's 40. He's going to
You know,
have an IL stint at some point.
I will say the 1-2 punch that the D-backs have on the top of the rotation. I think Cease and King on the Padres side. I think that's
Yeah.
right up there. I like Michael King a lot.
Oh,
So,
I do too.
I think they're on the same par, as like a big time 1-2 punch. Obviously, I think the D-backs have a better rotation, but
again, the question is, what are they doing with Dylan Cease?
right.
Because I'm with you. I like Michael King a lot too. He was even mentioned in trade rumors for some reason.
Mets.
So whoever, So I want to see where Sidney is going with this thing, because we've heard Cease, we've heard King, we've heard all these other things. So have to see how that plays out. All right, but we all have the Dodgers winning the West. Dan, how do you see the National League Central playing out? Last year it played out with the Brewers winning, followed by the Cardinals, Cubs, Reds, and Pirates.
Oh, this is interesting. I don't know, because every time we predict both Central divisions, really,
Yep.
but the NL Central is you can't guess well enough. I think I've always picked like the Cubs or the Cardinals or whatever. I'm probably going to do the same again, the Cubs this time.
No.
But then don't be surprised that the Brewers come out and shock the world again. Like, oh my God. I'm going to say Cubs.
Okay, so you're gonna go Cubs and then who?
Cubs. Think. I'm going to go Cubs, Brewers,
Ooh.
Cardinals, Pirates, Reds, or Reds, Pirates. I don't know. Or Pirates, Cardinals, Reds. One of those.
Okay. Mark?
I share sentiments with Dan is that we can pick the Central any way we want on both sides, and it could come out looking any way it possibly could. But for this year, I like the Cubs,
Ooh,
followed by the Reds, followed by Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, and then St. Louis.
okay.
No, no, I am not nuts. No, I am not crazy. I just see Milwaukee falling out of it this year completely.
Well, it's funny. I thought the same thing last year, and it didn't happen. They wound up winning, I think it was 93 games.
Something like that.
Yeah, they won 93. I got it right in front of me. But I don't got have the Brewers winning either. I've got the Reds winning. This young group, and I'm going to talk about a special player in a few minutes. But the guy who plays shortstop there in Cincinnati, I think he's going to have a big year.
I'm hoping he breaks the 100. Well, I hope he breaks the 100 stolen base barrier. It wouldn't be a record because it's been done before. But I would like this kid, Mr. Ellie De La Cruz, because the only way he's catching Ricky Anderson is if he averages 100 stolen bases this season.
No. All right. So I'm going Reds, Cubs, Brewers, Pirates, and I'm with you on the Cardinals. It feels like it's the start of a real tear down. More Goldschmidt. We know the Arenado rumors are going to keep piling up. I still really don't know the Cardinal rotation. So it feels like the Cardinals are actually tearing this down.
Mhm.
And the Pirates, I would put the Pirates higher, but they need to show me something. Outside of Paul Skeens, they need to show me
Right.
something. And Andrew McCutcheon.
The Pirates are always on the cusp, but they never break.
Yeah.
Why is that they never break? Like I just don't understand. You know, it,
Mhm.
something's got to give with Pittsburgh one of these days. Something's got to give.
I wish they had spent money on another bat. Like
Yeah, I
that to
mean,
me is the one real need, and they just didn't spend the money on it.
it's not like this team doesn't have money. They have the players. The players
Yeah,
are
they're
there.
right there.
Why not add a big time pitcher that could
Yeah,
complement schemes, not necessarily replace him at the top of the rotation, but something that could, you
yeah,
know, beef up the rotation. And then on top of that, you beef up your lineup a little bit so that you're not getting mediocre players in there like Tommy Pham or Isaiah Kiner for left.
yeah. And by the way, like you're banking on guys like O'Neal Cruz coming back and having a really good year. You're banking on Key Brian Hayes turning it around offensively. Okay, they're young players though. You need that veteran presence in the lineup. And it can't just be Andrew McCutcheon or Brian Reynolds. You know, this was I look at one position. This was a first baseman market. You could have had Justin Turner to play first base. Not a sexy name, but a guy who has won and would help these young players. He'll be
Agreed.
out there forever.
Like you mean tell me if you put Justin Turner in that lineup, which you already have McCutcheon, we know he's great. You know, O'Neal Cruz is on his way to being something
Yeah,
great. You mean tell me that that doesn't make your lineup better? It does.
yeah. And it's not going to cost you $20 million
Yeah,
in
again, we're not
one
expecting
season.
the Pirates to go on a massive playoff run, but you know, they're not going to do anything with this awful rotation and a lineup full of players that we have no idea about.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's why I'm a little sour on the Pirates. I'm a little sour on the Brewers, but not really their fault. I just didn't love the Devin Williams trade, and I need some of these other guys in this lineup to prove they can stay healthy.
You mean tell me Nestor Cortez won't come through? I mean, come on now.
Oh, Nestor Cortez is going to throw 6 shutout innings against the Mets in one of these starts. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But outside of him and Peralta, hopefully Christian Yelich can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Hopefully Reese Hoskins can stay healthy, not just
Yeah.
because I just drafted him in fantasy. So
They already took Christian Yelich off the field,
I mean, they're gonna have to just same formula the Angels have to do with Trout. Just DH them.
If they have to, then yeah.
Well, all right. Mark the National League Beast.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to be able to call it that again.
Yeah.
This is
Can't
a
wait
tough
for you to pick the
division.
Marlins.
This is a tough division. Like,
Oh, it's very. We talked about it last week on the preview. Like the Nationals can finish in 4th place, but they could be a 500 team.
Obviously, the cream of the crop is the New York Mets. With all injuries set aside, the New York Mets will win the NL East, and deservedly so. And it's not first place that is really the question. It's how does the rest of the division just fall out? And as Mike just said, the Washington Nationals might finish 4th, but they can finish as a 500 team is a very distinct possibility. So the way I like this falling out is obviously the Mets first, the Phillies second, Atlanta third, the Nationals fourth, and then obviously the lowly fishes will be swimming with the other fishes.
He's swimming with the fishies.
Hmm.
Dan?
Mets 1, Philly 2. Atlanta 3, Nats 4, Marlins 5. I would put Philly at the top, but the Mets have Juan Soto. Like, come on now. And on top of that, they also brought back Sean Manaea, who was expected to be pitching to start the season. So that was huge. The Mets did everything right in the offseason to put up a winner. And look, they competed well with the Phillies last year. I expect them to be better than Philly this year. But Philly, look, don't get me wrong, like they're still there. They haven't left and everything. That lineup is pretty freaking dangerous. That rotation is pretty
Yeah.
solid, but the Mets are coming, and expect New York to be a massive powerhouse across the National League.
Dan makes a very, very good point about the Phillies that, they got a great lineup, but they also have a consistent rotation. They have the same rotation that's slowly worked, avoided a lot of injuries last year, and pitched through just to get beaten by our Mets, but that's fine. The Phillies pitching is better. I mean, they're one of the best 1-2 combinations in baseball with Wheeler and Nola. I'm not going to say no. The Mets don't have that pure number one starter. No offense to Kodai Senga and no offense to Sean Manaea. But there's no Garrett Cole, there's no Corbin Burns, there's no real monster name at the top of this rotation, which makes me a little nervous. However, where they lack in pitching, they're going to make up in lineup and offense. So that's what's going to keep them in a lot of games.
I also like what the Mets did in the bullpen.
Agreed.
I think that's going to be important. I think here's the thing, and I'll go get into my predictions in a second. I wonder, and this is just pure speculation. We've heard the Sandy Alcantara stuff now about the Marlins. The Marlins, we presume, will be out of it by the deadline.
Pretty much.
If the Mets have a need at the top of the rotation, which they're going to need, I wonder if that's their call. I wonder if Alcantara's their guy. I wonder if Dylan Cease is their guy. If San Diego's going to, still take calls. We don't know. But I think David Stearns played it right this winter. But he's going to have to make up for it probably at the deadline to get that big time arm that this team needs.
Not to take anything away from Senga and Minaya and Clay Holmes, who had an
Clay Holmes has
amazing
been
spring,
awesome this spring, yeah.
an amazing spring. And you want to know what? In an all fair world, it would have gone one way. But I'm glad he was given the shot to be the opening day starter for the Mets because he pitched the best in spring training.
Yep. That was Mendoza's reasoning.
Yeah, I mean, Clay Holmes, you give props to him. Hopefully, it works out. I mean, look, you never know. I still don't agree with it, but I get it. And look, if he's committed to the process, they were talking about it. I believe it was on MLB. They were talking about how the game is going to slow down for Clay Holmes now because he's a starter, whereas coming out of the bullpen or being a closer, the game's faster because you're coming out of the bullpen, you don't have time to process all these hitters and stuff. Like you sort of have to come out quick. It's hard to be a reliever. It's very hard to be a reliever. But yeah, no, I think the Mets are not done with the rotation. I think they're going to have to make a trade in order. Look, because the goal is the World Series, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to make the World Series with this rotation.
No.
Because that's asking the lineup, which it can do, because they're a power hitting machine. It's asking the lineup to score 1 trillion runs a night to make up for some of the pitchers who are not going to be lights out.
Right.
That's not fair. So they're gonna have to make a trade. I would do before the deadline. Like there should be no reason why.
I'm just saying around that
in
area.
May or June they can't make a trade for a pitcher.
Yeah. So it's the Mets. I'm with you guys on the bottom of the division. I got the Marlins. I got the Nats. Although the Nats are going to be feisty.
Yeah,
they're going to be feisty.
With that rookie combination of Dylan Cruz and James Wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, Mackenzie Gore pitched pretty well last year. Eventually, they're going to have Josiah Gray back. The rotation's not that bad.
Yeah.
I got Atlanta at 3, mainly for this reason. We don't know about Strider when he's coming back. We don't know when Ronald Acuna is coming back. But then I have this question when they do come back. After Strider and Chris Sale, how good is this rotation going to be? I know Schwellenbach had his moments last year, especially against the Mets. But can he put it together for a full season? I don't know. But we know that the lineup can mash. I got the Mets in second. I can't put them above the Phillies yet in the division for this reason. And you hit it on the head. Wheeler, Nola. And look, Aaron Nola's had years where he's not great, but he's become a tremendous pitcher. And Zach Wheeler, damn you, Brody Van Wagenen, damn you. Zach Wheeler has turned into, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Zach Wheeler's turned into the best freaking pitcher in baseball. So, and then on top of that, you got this lineup with Harper and Schwarber and Trey Turner. They're going to have questions too. Can Alec Bohm do what he did last year? Or is he going to revert back to what he did in the second half? What does Nick Castellanos look like? What does Real Muto look like? And Mark, I think this is a fair point. I don't think there's a team in baseball. I think I made this point last week when we were talking about this. I think there's a team in baseball under more pressure to win than the Philadelphia Phillies.
No, yeah, we had discussed that last week. You put the Phillies in with this type of lineup and this type of rotation, and it doesn't get it done. How long are you going to keep it together? I mean, it's not like you're itching to go trade Nola or Wheeler at all. But at some point, what's the term? Something's got to give.
Yeah. So, all right. So, just to reiterate, division winners, we all got the Dodgers winning the West. Dan and Mark have the Cubs winning the Central. I had the Reds, and the two of them got the Phillies winning, or got the Mets winning the East, and I have the Phillies. All right, so Dan, I'll start with you. Who are your three wild cards, and how do you see the National League playoff shaping up?
Well, the Phillies are obviously, if they're not winning division, they're a wild card.
All right.
They'll be a very close second in that division. Don't count out the Brewers, man. I'm sorry. I know you want to. I'm not. I have them in a wild card spot. I have them. I have the Padres there. Like I feel like those three teams can do it. If not the Brewers, the Diamondbacks.
Okay, so you got the Brewers, the Phillies, and the Padres
Mm.
as your wild cards.
Yes, and if not the Brewers, the
No,
Diamondbacks.
not the
It's gonna be
Brewers.
one of those. It's gonna be one of those teams.
Okay, you got it. All right, Mark, who you got as your three wild cards?
I got the Phillies, I got the Reds, and I got the Padres.
Okay. All right. And I've got the Mets, D-backs, and Padres. I was very close between the Padres and the Braves.
I think it would be easier if we knew exactly, as Mike had alluded to earlier, if we knew when Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider are coming back.
Yeah, look, I mean, look, uh, the thing with the Braves, Profar could fill in the top of the lineup. He can do that. He's very capable of. Without Acuna, it's gonna be very tough.
Yeah, it is going to be tough, but but we know they're going to mash
Yeah.
with Olsen and Riley and those guys. But
And then we're still waiting on Strider, right? Because
we're waiting on Strider, and I think
until April, right? Late April, is that what they're telling
I
us?
have no idea. I haven't heard anything,
Yeah.
but I go to the Google. Well, maybe I'll have something, but
Mhm.
Just to the Google.
to the Google.
That's the sentence of the generation today. Go to the Google machine.
All right, this is from MLB.com. Uh, Brian Snitker said they're going to get him early in the year, so that might be late April.
Right. Again, still not knowing.
Yeah, they're
how.
keeping it internal, but they have a general idea.
That scares me. That tells me absolutely nothing.
Okay, according to sources, it's reasonable to expect Strider to join the rotation sometime in late April. Acuna should return. Return should come in early to mid May, so they're expecting them both fairly early this year.
Again, all depends on how they come back from the injury.
Right, because I
Acuna's
would think they're going to
being,
watch Strider very carefully.
yes.
For Acuna, this is his second big injury.
Yep.
So they're going to have to be very, very careful. Okay, again, We will do World Series next week when we do the American League. But we do have some hardware we're going to hand out.
Mhm.
Outside of Shohei Ohtani, Mark, because that's the easy answer.
Cheater.
Ipe gave me the odds already. Who wins National League MVP?
Francisco Lindor.
You want to go
Yeah,
into
and I'm. Is there a little bit of bias in me? Yeah, but I can pick from a whole lot of players on that team. Lindor deserved it last year for what he did. He's gonna repeat or not do. He's gonna repeat or do better than last year. So I like him for NL MVP.
Okay. Dan?
Kyle Tucker.
Ooh. Oh, man. You want to talk about a dude who's going to cash in on free agency then? Oh,
I think he's gonna have big ear. Like I really do. You'll love the friendly confines.
and not only will he love the friendly confines, he's going to love the money the friendly confines winds up getting him. Oh, all right. I'm going Ellie De La Cruz.
Okay, I like that.
Told you big year. Come on, Ellie. So I'm going to go Ellie De La Cruz. Dan Cy Young.
Tough one. I'm gonna say Aaron Nola.
Well, all right. Mark.
I'm saying his other twin, Zach Wheeler.
I had Wheeler, so I might as well just change it up.
Hmm.
You know what? I'll go. Ooh, this is hard because you got some very good pitchers in the National League. You know what? I'm gonna go Zach Gallen, Arizona
Okay.
Diamondbacks. I had Wheeler written down, but I'll change it up for this Zach Gallen. All right, Mark, manager of the year.
Manager of the year. Hmm. Actually, kind of a tough one when you think about it. I'm going to come back to me on that one.
Okay. Uh, Dan, manager of the year.
I think the guy gets his flowers this time. Dave Martinez.
Okay.
I think the Nationals, they're not gonna, I don't know if how well they're actually gonna do. That team's gonna look pretty solid. I
Mm-hmm.
expect them to look pretty solid and compete, and they'll surprise you. You know,
I'm surprised us. We've been talking about them the last 2 weeks. How good they
Yeah.
could be.
How good they could be, but they could be better. That's what
Right.
I'm saying.
Oh yeah. We've been talking about them as a team that 500, maybe better.
If the Nats go, if the Nats can go 10 games over, he's winning manager of the year.
Mm. All right. I took the easy way. I'm going if the Reds win the NL Central, I'm going Terry Francona.
Yeah, and that's where I decided to land. So
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I'll bounce back on to my boy Jose.
I mean he's shit. We know how great of a manager he is, but if that team wins the division with how young they are, I'll give him his flowers too.
Yeah.
And
By the
listen,
way, how
I'd have
about
no
the
issue if Dave Martinez won it if the Nats are 10 over.
yeah? You know, I like Tito. I'm glad that he's getting another shot at it. Um, The jury's still out in the Reds. I'm not quite there with them. Just
No, and that's fair. That's fair. All right. Once again, next week, American League plus the World Series.
Mhm.
Mark, do you want to promote anything from the dugout?
Oh, yes. The Dugout of Millwood will be making a special appearance today at 2 o'clock on the Face Turn with Mike Rifkin and Noah Trombley as we break a case of WWE Tops Chrome Wrestling. Gonna be fun, and we're hoping for a rock.
Hoping for the final boss. All right. That'll do it for this edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Hey, blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Follow us on the socials, Twitter, S Insanity Real, and Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. Check out the live content on YouTube, whether it's Batter Up later today when Mark, myself, and Noah break down a case. Whatever you want to do, like, comment, subscribe, do all that junk. And until next week, Dan, Mark, I'm Mike. We'll preview the American League and give you our World Series predictions. And for the first time this season, everyone, enjoy the start of baseball season.
Yes.
We'll talk to you all next week.
Peace and love.